Any looter shooter's biggest claim to fame is, well, the loot. From blues to purples to legendaries, there's always more loot to be found at every turn, in every chest, on every boss, like a loot pinata. In this video today, I want to highlight some of the best places to get loot in Borderlands 4. Some of these will be obvious, especially to veterans, but maybe you didn't know that red chest spawns are not guaranteed across the map. Or maybe that world bosses have a higher chance of dropping legendaries. So this is your first time on my channel, the way I do things is by uploading the knowledge of my videos. With that being said, let me give you all the locations I'll be covering in this video to help get the most and best loot in Borderlands 4. 1, rerunning bosses using Moxxi's big encounter, Encore. I don't know why I said 1, I'm not going to be numbering these. So rerunning bosses, rerunning vaults for the increased class mod drops, tapping into white, red, and gold chests whenever you find them, opening all 10 of the survival caches across the map, popping open Electi Safes, doing world bosses and especially world events because they give you 5 red chests, and lastly, my sort of secret loot cave spawn that sends a ton of waves of badass rippers right at you. Remember, everything in this game scales to you, so don't worry about level appropriate or being level appropriate for any of this. And a lot of these rules will apply to the beginning and the end of the game, so just have fun and enjoy. But that's too long to watch this entire video. That's all you want to know. Please feel free to shut the video down. I want to be respectful of your time. You can navigate to any part of this video that interests you the most using the chapters about the timeline in the description, especially the thing I mentioned about the loot cave. You can just jump right to that if you want. Before you head out, if any of the info in this video ends up being helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. Each one of those things helps me out in a huge way. Lastly, I'm streaming Borderlands 4 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so head on over to Twitch to win in the giveaways and other events that we do. But let's get started on the best loot locations you haven't been to in Borderlands 4. Before we get into a lot of the locations of where things are and what have you, I want to talk about chests. Now, there's a lot of different types of chests in the game. There's a red chest, there's white chests, there's gold chests, and some of them won't spawn. It's just kind of random. You'll find them throughout the game world. They will more often than not reliably be at the end of certain things that we'll talk about on this list. But this right here is a white chest. If I go ahead and open it up, it'll usually have a couple items. They will vary from white to green, to blue to purple. They can be legendary. White chests typically don't have very good items in them. I'm just trying to show you the difference between these. Now, for example here, this right here is a location that a red chest can spawn. But you can see only an ammo chest spawn. I'm going to go find a red chest so you can see what is looted inside of it, so you know what I'm talking about when I say red chest. But you can find plenty of websites online, like I use Map Genie, and those websites will give you information as far as where those red chest spawn locations are. Again, like I said, there are certain things, events, bosses, what have you, that will guaranteed give you red chests. So let's show off a red chest real quick. So this is the red chest. Typically, it will favor blue, purple drops with a higher chance of legendary than any other thing in the game, aside from like gold chests, stuff like that. Now, this is what is highly coveted. Like I said earlier, sometimes these will spawn in set locations, sometimes they will not if you look at a map, but they are most reliably found after events, after certain bosses. And you can see you'll just be able to scoop through these items, pick up whatever you want. Now, there are other types of red chests like puzzle chests and what have you, which you will encounter as well. So just be mindful of that as you're hunting for these red chests. Other red chests are sometimes found with these little puzzles attached to them, where you have to attach things to them or go up to this, press hack, and you just sit there and Echo 4 just gets pissed while he hacks it, and you get access to another red chest. So you'll find these all over the place. It is worth noting too, I got unlucky here. Sometimes when a sniper rifle or a heavy ordnance weapon spawns on a red chest, it'll take the slots of other items on that chest that could have spawned. I think the game assigns some sort of value to those respective to it. Like assault rifles will take up, basically there's like a slot here, 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 and here. Sniper rifles, you can see, took up all 4. I think assault rifles take up 2. SMGs, and I think assault rifles and shotguns take up 2. SMGs and pistols take up 1, and then these obviously take up 1. But sniper rifles and heavy ordnance would both take up a full slot. But class mods, grenades, enhancements, those kind of fall into this category right here. The last type of chest I want to talk about, and another pretty important one, are gold chests. Now these are a little bit better drop chance than a red chest, which has, I think, red chest has a chance to spawn greens. I don't think that the golds can. And gold chests you get from shift keys that are distributed by Gearbox. They just put them online, all sorts of stuff. I'll have any active shift key. I'll put all the shift key codes I know in the description, the pinned comment. So just go ahead and pull those shift keys. You press escape, you go to shift, you go to this rewards button and enter them in right there. You can see I've redeemed a whole bunch of them. So we'll go open this up, cost 1 key. Don't stockpile your keys. Oh, hey, we got 2 legendaries. We got really lucky there. So we got a bunch of purples, 2 legendaries. I think the minimum you can get is blue here. And give this a second, this thing will collapse down and it'll eject all these off. We can just redeem another key. Don't wait until max level to do this. Just redeem them. Have fun with them. You're going to get tons of shift keys because they constantly distribute them. And they're usually on some sort of like, oh, every like X amount of hours, this thing disappears or stuff like that. Just because I know you wanted to see what those legendaries are. So, hey, Slippy, that one's cool. But here is another form of chest that you will be comparing a lot of drop chances against, and just use the shift keys as you get them. Now, something that's a little bit trickier to find, but you will find them across the map as you're exploring, are these Electi Safes. They basically act a little bit above or about on par with a red chest. So we'll go ahead and kick this open. And it'll spit out a ton of items. So it's not the most amazing thing, but when you come across them, it is a nice little kick of reward. Because like I said, it's about on par with a, as far as the rarity goes of a red chest, but you do get more than the quantity of a red chest. So you can see that this is another great way to get a little bit of loot as you rummage through to find a lot of the other things on this list. Now, if you played Destiny 1, you remember the loot cave. I think it was in Destiny 2. Yeah, there was a loot cave. Well, I'm not 100% sure of it, but this specific location on the map, you can see that it's just next to this Electi Safe, just northeast of the makeshift chalet. That is on the left side of the map as you progress up from the starting area. So you'd go through here, windy, topsy-turvy, right in here. There's something about this location that spawns tons of waves of badass rippers. So I'm going to walk over here and they'll just start coming at me in droves. It seems to be pretty reliable that this almost always happens here. And every time it does, you kind of get pinned down. There's a lot to deal with. It's not like usually a very quick situation. It's usually a pretty like intense one. So we'll just kind of push through some of these. You'll deal with just some initial first wave of monsters. If you like this build, it is my almond minion build. Of course, that guy would be immune to that. Where I summon up tons of little disembodied weapons. That's kind of like the first wave, right? But now we're going to start getting, very quickly after this, they'll kind of just start coming from all over the place, badasses, and they will really swarm you. Just kind of push through these guys over here. I promise badass to spawn here, I'm not lying. There we go. There we go. I'm assuming I don't die to this. Takes 5 years to reload that gun. So glad about it. So we just killed one badass. We'll start coming into more now. There's another one here. And every time there's another one right there. And every time I've reloaded this area, this thing has been started to go through its respawn. So it's a pretty reliable, again, I don't want to call it a loot cave because we remember how disgusting the Destiny loot cave got. But it is a pretty reliable amount of jackasses that will just keep badasses that'll just keep spawning for a good chunk of time. I mean, I think we're pretty much at the end of it. Another one back here. I got another badass. It blows up all over me. And hey, what's this? It's another badass. So you can see, it is a reliable amount of badasses that spawn. Another one's coming up over there. I didn't mean for this to be like a long portion of the video. I thought I'd be like, oh, look, I'm just gonna kill a couple. And every time I come here, it's a non-stop shit show of badasses. I'm not gonna loot anything until after we're done here. Another one on this side that I guess I'm stuck in. And another one. I feel like Oprah right now. And you get a badass. And you get a badass. And maybe after a certain amount of time, I'll just call it a jackass again. Okay, so we did it. We cleared them all out. And we have pretty much a boss's worth of loot on everything, right? We got some blues, we got some greens, we got some randos. So it just is going to be, of course, as always with everything in this game, complete luck of the draw. But it's a great way to just kind of go one location, kill a bunch of stuff. Over there can spawn a chest, a red chest, I believe. A red chest spawns right there. That's a red chest. So you can reliably get quite a bit from this location. And I've already actually shown off some of this stuff, but still, this kind of shows you that this is a pretty good location to farm repeatedly. Maybe when the first time you jump into the game. I think you can kind of get lost if you just jump through one location a bunch of times over and over and over and over. The grind stops becoming fun. But it's maybe one of those things where it's like, all right, well, before I go to bed, I'll come do this real quick. I know it's going to take me, this segment's 5 minutes, 24 seconds. I'll go ahead and pop this open and get some more loot. So this is just a pretty cool location that I found that reliably has a lot of cool stuff going for it. We've talked about chests, we've talked about Electi Safes, but there are also Survivalist Caches. Now, Survivalist Caches are going to give us a lot of items. There's also as well too lost capsules, but they're a little more tedious because you have to go turn them back in, and you can't necessarily farm either one of these because they're kind of a one and done. So just be mindful of that as I bring this up. But a Survivalist Cache is going to deliver us quite a lot of loot. It's not necessarily going to be limited in its loot in the sense that it won't spawn white items, but you can see it's going to give us way more than a single red chest, but it gives, and you only have 10 of these on the map. A lot of greens here, which is no big deal, you know, it's just money fodder for anything, but you'll get yourself some blues, some purples to take advantage of, stuff like that. So make sure you hit these Survivalist Caches because they're quite good in the very beginning, and they do scale, of course, with your level. So you can hang on to these to the very end if you really want to, but at the same time, as you're kind of pushing through the leveling process of the game, make sure to jump into these Survivalist Caches. Now, with any kind of action RPG or looter shooter, grinding bosses and redoing content is a big part of it. And we're going to talk about two versions of this, one in bosses and one in vaults. Now, this is one of the more famous ones that's been called out a lot on the internet. It's Splash Zone. It's the very first boss that you encounter. You'll do this at any Moxxi's big Encore. You'll find these on the map. They'll look just like this. This is the very first boss. It looks just like that little top hat with the skull. You'll come up to it and you'll press E. You'll spend some money and then you'll be able to then spawn the boss. Let's go ahead and press E. Run over here where the boss spawns. And kill the boss real quick. And it's a quick one to kill. It'll drop all of its loot. Let me just kill all these enemies. Don't have them interrupting us. And there we go. Now, this one wasn't particularly good. but every boss has a set legendary loot pool, at least some of the more important ones. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of scoop a lot of this up. Maybe, you know, that's not a bad one, but nah, screw it. Scoop a lot of this up real quick. And this boss specific is very convenient, because then I just come back around, jump over, sell my scrap. I just sold it really quick, and then just buy it again. And you pretty much just rinse and repeat this for this boss. This boss will drop like a legendary shield. It has some other drops on in there as well. I think there's 3 set legendaries from Splash Zone. And, oops, hurt myself again today. There we go. We'll just take them down. Maybe I'll die in the process. There we go. I don't know if we'll get any legendaries there, but there's always a chance. Okay, so no legendaries again, but there are legendaries in this loot pool. You just go ahead, run these bosses multiple times depending on the boss. A lot of people have been pursuing specific ones to get specific loot tables. You can find all those on the internet, but I definitely recommend that you do these bosses. It's kind of fun, mindless fun to just get a shit ton of loot. But here we are at one of the vaults, and this is a great way to get loot. So what I'm going to do here is show you how you can actually rerun the boss of the vault if you didn't know that you could. We're going to go up to this, go ahead and press E, we'll zone in. Now, sure, doing the boss of the vault is going to net you a ton of loot, but the biggest thing too of doing this whole process is you have to go through, I mean, maybe you don't, maybe I'm just bad at this game and I shouldn't make videos anymore. Oh, okay, yeah, you can actually, oh no, you can't, sorry. By the way, terrible allergies, I apologize. But you have to run the vault again. Now, I've done this before a couple times. It's a great way to get just a lot of general loot. But what I will say is it's just also a great way to get class mods and enhancements, because it seems like, at least Vault of Inceptus, the boss for this, has a higher chance to drop both of those. So that seems to be a good thing. And of course, too, since you do fight a boss at the end, you will also get the increased, not increased chance, but the legendary drops that boss has relegated to them. So let's go through this entire thing here and then show you the loot at the very. So once you get through this portion of the vault, you've jumped through your 3 big jumps, 3 big platforms, you'll come up to a Moxxi's big encounter, and you'll do the same thing we've talked about with the boss section. You'll pay a fee, and it'll go ahead and spawn the boss through there. Let's go ahead and do this now. So we killed the boss, got my things floating around all over the place, and we got some items. Now, I'm not saying this is always going to be the best, right? That's kind of the point of the game. You pure RNG. For the most part, I'm just looking at like some trash. Now, that's fine too, right? Like I said, it's all going to be random. Like, I have no idea. I have to really, no, that's probably not going to be. That'll probably not do for me, pig. I thought I heard the cha-ching. Ooh, I like that. I thought I heard the cha-ching of a legendary, but I guess I didn't get so lucky. That's a pretty good assault rifle. It's an okay assault rifle, actually. I'll tits that away. And we have a heavy weapon here. We have a, even better shotgun than what I've got. Upgrade right there. That's a, I said, of course it's order. Of course it's order. High DPS must be an order weapon. So we did all that, but wait, there's more. So we'll come over to this opening. And with this vault in specific, we're going to go ahead and get all the loot from that boss. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to get access to a chest right there and a chest right there. So we'll get 2 red chests out of this, which is always great too. So a whole boss's worth of loot with its set legendary cycles. Red chest number 1. Okay, bunch of purples and a blue or 2. And chest number 2. not as bad, not as good. But again, you'd run this, and you saw as with the sped up footage, how many blues and purples that we got en route to here too. So those of course have chances to drop legendaries and what have you. Let's jump to one last thing for some good possible loot. Now the last thing I want to talk about are rifts. Now rifts are rift bosses, rift champions, world bosses, all these things. And ooh, what does that do? This button didn't do what I thought it did. Okay, ooh, that's fun. So rift bosses are these big bubbles that you're gonna find. And this map real quick, this just shows you some of the rift bosses that you'll be able to do. Now, these aren't necessarily just bosses. I think this one, for example, yeah, this is a world event. So this applies to both world events, rift bosses, rift champions. When you encounter these locations, and here's just a quick map of them, please, you can find this on mapgenie.io. That's the one I use, but please just look on the internet. They're all over the place. There's tons of maps of these things. And I didn't want to show you everything. It's a bit of a spoiler. But these rift bosses, you'll encounter them. There's these huge bubbles, these domes, and those bosses have a higher chance to drop legendary loot. Now, the world events, like the airship world event, and the other world event that is in the, I think it's called the Lopside. It's the next location on the left to the north as you kind of progress. That location will have a chance to, you go through an event and it'll have like multiple tiers of the event. You can go through bronze, silver, golden, and platinum. And that will net you 5 red chests with a higher chance to drop legendaries on the platinum and gold chests. So these are amazing ways to get loot. Now, the reason this is last on the list is because this is also the least reliable way to get loot. Now, while it is awesome, these aren't always present. So you have to hunt them, you have to go look around for them. Everything else you can pretty much just fast travel to, go head towards, and you can do it. So I wanted to mention it because it is the way that you get some of the best loot in the game, but it is also the least reliable way to do so. But that brings our video here to a close. So go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. What are some things that you've been doing to maximize your loot in the game? Remember, this is an RNG based looter shooter. So your mileage may vary on a lot of these things. Maybe you are just, you are sworn, you swear by always going to vaults, always knocking out red chests. That's something that works for you. Or you know what, you've just had a lot of luck constantly getting really good locations for your rifts, world events, your world bosses, all that stuff. It's always going to be different for everyone, but these are some of the things that you can do to maximize your loot in Borderlands 4. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.